Okay, so this is going to be our meeting on the interview plans and timing meeting. The participants are all of us. If everybody wants to introduce themselves, we'll do roll call that we're all here. So I'm Gina Gonzalez. I'm heading up this meeting, and go ahead and take it.
I'm Teresa.
I'm Flores.
Sarah.
Okay. So what we're going to be doing in this meeting is we're determining when interviews are going to be held. So we all have to go through the interview. One of us has to lead it. One of us has to be the interviewee, and the rest of us will be on the panel. So we're going to determine when they will be held. We're going to also devise the questions for the interviewee, and then where the interviews are going to take place, and then any other items that we might need to address to prepare for those meetings. So I think that we'll just start by assigning out the interviews. Since we've done all of our other meetings where some are meeting in person and some of us are online, I guess we'll need to talk about that logistics-wise, what time frame is going to work. So these interviews have to take place by, let me see exactly what the date is on that.
November 4th.
Is it November 4th? I thought just these meetings have to take place by November 4th, but the actual interviews.
Oh, I know that part.
So the interview questions are due by the 11th, but doing the actual mock interview video, that's not due until November 25th. So we have time between now and then to complete all of our interviews. I don't know if it works for everybody, try to get them all done in one day like we're doing today on these interviews, or if we want to break them up, because that would be essentially 5 interviews that we have to do.
So personally, I am going to be in Vegas on between the 17th and the 19th.
Okay.
Laptop like I did.
But I can meet before then though.
Okay, so I'm off. I mean, I work Monday and Friday from like 6:30 to 12. So I can meet like.
Well, what day's Thanksgiving this year? The 22nd.
Yes.
It's always on a Thursday.
So I'm off the 23rd too.
Oh,
so
me
Black
too.
Friday, if that works.
Do we want to try to get them done earlier than that, just to make sure?
I definitely. I could think we could get that done. I do have classes on Mondays, so Mondays are a no-go for me.
Fridays are my best day, like today, starting at 4. I'm usually off. I work from home on Fridays, and I get off at 4, so I can just get right on here.
Okay.
If everybody's available next Friday, the 9th, maybe.
The 9th.
We can do that, but should we like text everyone to say, hey, we're getting ready to meet up? Because I think we should like text everyone by like 3:30. Hey, this is the time we're going to meet up, or so everybody can be online, or things like that.
So where's everybody thinking they would? So does everybody else want to be in person, or what would work for you on the 9th at 4 p.m.?
For me, I say meeting in person because I'm starting to get a little comfortable because I was freaking out. Like I tend to pass out speaking in front of people I don't know and doing this, so I'm getting a little better. So meeting in person works for me.
I can do either, but first I think meeting in person would be the best, especially for an interview.
Yeah.
So where at would you guys be meeting? What location?
I liked the Auburn campus.
I'm not gonna lie, me too.
I liked that personally.
It was a little quieter, so we were able to, talk without, extra.
Flores, does that work for you on Friday night?
I live 2 minutes away from there, so that's
Okay.
perfect. Yeah.
What about Jasleen? Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So are you going to be in person as well at the Auburn campus at 4 next Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll still be online. I can't make it there by 4 p.m. So I figure if we start at 4, it says each interview should last about 20 to 30 minutes. So if we say the first one starts at 4, it'd be 4 to 4:30. Next one would be 4:30 to 5. Next one, 5 to 5:30. 5:30 to 6. That takes us to 4 of them. And then we've got 6 to 6:30. So plan on about 2.5 hours, but obviously we kind of get through things pretty quickly. So maybe it'll be closer to 20 minutes, but I'll put that on the sheet. I'll put the half an hour time slots. So I guess who wants to be the first one to be interviewed?
I can do it.
Okay, so Sarah, and then who wants to lead that interview? I could lead that interview. So there's one person being interviewed and there's one person leading it, and then the rest are just the panel. So for the first one, we'll say Sarah's the one, the interviewee, and then I'll be the lead on that one. I'll be the interviewer. And so for the second one, who wants to get interviewed the second go around?
I mean, I can.
Yeah, whatever.
I'll be an interviewee.
Okay. I mean, does it really matter? We're all doing them. So do you guys want me to just fill out like, okay, just go down the line and say this person's being interviewed next?
How we did it, how you did like the layout before, so it'd be the same type of layout?
Yep, I could do that. Yep.
Okay.
So
that works for everybody. Does that work for you? Okay.
Okay, so I'll follow that schedule then and say, who was ever in the leader field before, that's now the interviewee. Whoever was in the secretary field is now the leader of that interview. Everybody else is a panel on the panel. And then the meeting location will be Green River Campus on Friday, November 9th, starting at 4 p.m. And so then I'll just put each of the slots into those. So we've got the schedule figured out for that. The next part of it would be determining interview questions. Let me see if she gives us a minimum of the questions that we have to ask.
And does wardrobe matter at all?
I think it's professional.
Professional?
I would just do that anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed. So let me see if she says recording. So as far as the mock interview itself, it doesn't say that, but let me see on the questions, because there's also an assignment for the interview questions. So that one says submit a short paragraph as to what kind of job you're interviewing your interviewee for, then follow with 8 to 12 questions that are suitable for that position. Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit more in depth, is that we actually need to interview them based off of what type of job you're looking for career path-wise. So we need to go down the line and each of us need to say what our career path is, and then we'd have to determine questions based off of that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna reach that. Yeah.
Does anybody want to start? I can start. So, I mean, currently I'm an accounting supervisor. I plan to stay in the accounting field, probably becoming higher in management at some point. So that's kind of the career path I'm looking to go down. So my questions could be geared around management or accounting. We would have to look at that.
For me, I'm looking to become a healthcare administrator or a healthcare supervisor. I'm PSR right now, so just looking to make my way up the chain in the healthcare business.
Customer service head manager, I guess you could say, department head.
What you want to become? I want to start a multinational company, so I can do business all over the world.
Internationally?
Yeah.
Okay.
What type of business?
I have some ideas, but probably something like retail.
Okay, so you want to own your own business, start your own business.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Jasleen.
Yes.
And for me, I just want to get my foot in the door of accounting. So I don't know exactly what job. It's just a career in accounting.
Oh, look, Gina's perfect for you.
Okay, so for the interview questions, let's see here. Your interview for. So I think actually the questions, the person would come up with the questions who's conducting that interview. So let's just go down.
Come up with questions. The
What's
interviewer,
that?
The
Yes.
interviewer? Okay.
Yeah, so that's one of the assignments. So let me just go down the list real quick to say who's going to be the interviewee and who would be the interviewer for each one, so you know what you have to do your assignment based off of. So for the first one, Sarah is the one being interviewed by Teresa. So Teresa, you're the lead on Sarah's interview. So you would be coming up with the questions for hers, for her career path. The second interview would be Teresa being interviewed by me. So I would come up with the questions for Teresa's interview. And then the third one is Jasleen is being interviewed by Sarah. So Sarah will come up with those questions. The next one would be Flores would be the one being interviewed by Jasleen. So Jasleen, you would come up with the questions for Flores. And then the very last one would be myself being interviewed by Flores. So Flores, you would come up with the questions for my interview. And so, like I said, there's lots of assignments that are based off of this particular meeting that we're having. So the first is us actually conducting these interviews. So along with that is the sheet that I'll send to you guys that gives the schedule of these interviews. And then the next thing would be everybody coming up with their questions for these interviews. So that's another assignment that has to be submitted. And then let me make sure that was everything on there. Yeah, so we said when the meetings will be held. We talked about who has to ask, determine the questions. So when it's held, what time. Is there anything else that we feel that we need to prepare for those interviews? So we already talked about attire. So we're saying business attire. Is there anything else that we feel that we would need to discuss to prepare for those?
So has anyone ever worked, well, if we're doing it online, never mind. Okay, because I was asking about, because if we meet all in person, you have to use, what is that, like Doodle or?
Oh, to record it?
Yeah, I'd never worked with that, but since we're gonna be meeting with you on YouTube Hangout, then we don't have to worry about that.
Okay, so we'll have those. Anything else that anybody has for that?
No.
Okay.
And it's like 1 to 8 questions or 1 to 10 questions?
It said 8 to 12 questions.
Oh, 8 to 12 questions.
Yeah, so it says submit a short paragraph as to what kind of job you are interviewing for your interviewee for. Then follow it up with 8 to 12 questions that are suitable for that position. Use your textbooks and or conduct research to flesh out your list.
Okay.
So kind of straightforward. But we always have the group chat, and that assignment, like I said, is a doodle a little bit. So if we want to ping questions with each other through the chat, we can, just to come up with some questions for the fields that we're going into or would like to go into. So and I think that's everything. So we can wrap up this meeting if nobody has anything else.
Okay, well, good. Nope, that's it.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you guys
next time.